All right, so we might want to get subsets of our data for various reasons. We might want to look at only the census blocks that have above 100 jobs, for example. Or you might want to look at certain census blocks where certain groups are overrepresented, or any sort of reason. And so it could be very useful to find different subsets. And so we'll go over how to do that using SQL. Okay, so we're going to write our query from scratch, and I'm going to start it very similar to how we did before, and this should be very familiar to you. All right, so we're just selecting every column from this data table, the workplace area characteristics table in the load is schema, and then I am going to first I'll do this spacing. This doesn't affect the query at all, it's just for readability. And then I'm going to use where. So this where basically is where we put our conditional statement to subset the data. And so for example, I'm going to do where the total jobs is greater than 100. Right? And then let me put a limit 1000. Okay, so let me try running this query. Right? So this gives us every column in this workplace area characteristic table where the total jobs in that census block, C000, is greater than 100. So if you look at that column, all of these values are greater than 100. You can kind of scroll down. And yeah, all of these values are greater than 100. And you can adjust this a little bit so that, for example, we can get only certain columns. So I'll just demonstrate with just these two columns. And there you go. So only those first two columns are displayed, and you can see all of the rows in which the C000 is greater than 100, right? But maybe you want to know how many census blocks there are where the total number of jobs in that census block is greater than 100. And we can just use a count for that. Count star. Okay. And there you go, about 29,000. And so, we can use this to get all sorts of counts. We can, see how many census blocks have less than 100. All right, so about 214,000. Shouldn't be very surprising because we had an idea of how many rows there were already, right? And then we can also combine different statements. So, for example, let's say we want to do how many there are between 50 and 100. So can do this. So what this is saying is we want the count from this data table where this C000, the total jobs, is greater than 50 and it's less than 100. So in other words, where it's between 50 and 100, non-inclusive. Right? And it's about 18,000. Right? And you can definitely use different ones. So for example, let's say we want that age group to be greater than 100, or sorry, 50, and we want the total jobs to be greater than 100. So how many have that? About 15,000. What about or? So this is saying we want the count of all rows where the first age group is greater than 50 jobs, or the total jobs is greater than 100. So basically, either of these conditions can be met, and it'll display it. Okay, and then let's do one more. Let's do C000 is null. Basically, we want the number of rows where this C000 value is null. And it's 0. That's great. There's no null values. And so you can kind of use these different conditional statements in order to kind of get summaries of the data, to get different counts, to be able to subset the data and kind of look at these different subsets and get more information that way.